Hello, everyone, and welcome. Bienvenidos. It has been quite a minute since I've been on here, but I mean, it is the full moon in Aries. And so I was called forth, inspired to connect with all of you. Mi nombre es Vanessa Codorniu, and I'm excited to be here. This is a moon coming after a whole eclipse season, and we need it. So, what do we need to know about this? After the intensity of the eclipse season, this Aries super full moon feels like an exhale. It feels like a moment to let go of what we've been carrying. It feels like a moment to feel energy throughout our body rather than like kind of tight, like what's going to happen. I could say that for me, it's been the eclipse season was intense just because I had set myself up to do the one woman show, which was the first eclipse, September 7th. And then the second eclipse came after a week later, or a couple of weeks later, actually, during my retreat, my fall equinox retreat, and it was the last day. And for me, the eclipse season wasn't a difficult time. It was just a time of a lot of activity. I have two small businesses. I have an improv team that does a lot of things, Los Complicados. We got a lot of media. Like all of the things that I'd been planting and seeding really came to fruition around the eclipse, as it does, right? Like quickly, it's like boom, boom, boom. And so it was hard to keep things together, to keep things organized. That's why I have a digital calendar that I swear by. And so that's where the intensity was for me. For some people, it was emotional intensity. There were deep realizations. For me, it was like, this is where I belong. I belong on stage doing my one woman show. I belong with these incredibly amazing Latina and BIPOC women on this journey of healing. And how do I get to do more of this? And so if the eclipse season was intense for you, or it smacked you around, or it gave you a sense of, okay, this is what's important, it's time for us to ask ourselves how this eclipse has pulled out has pulled out at threads of our identity, right? Like it pulls little threads of our identity, kind of guiding us, and it reveals what is sustainable and what is not sustainable. So a question that really arose in my heart over this full moon was, what has served during this time, right, of eclipses leading into the full moon? What ideas, what patterns or expectations are ready to be released? And what can I lovingly put down so I can finally move freely again? Now, this is not an easy question to ask because I've talked to so many people who are struggling financially, struggling with work. Less funding for nonprofits has led to a lot of layoffs. People are going through it in many different ways, right? Some people are having health situations. And so please don't feel the pressure that if you ask yourself, well, what do I need to lovingly put down? But you can't put it down right now, say a marriage, say a job, right? Say a child that's disgruntled and you're having issues with them and you can't give them away. So even if you know, aunque sea, sepas lo que hay que dejar, en este momento quizás no es el momento oportuno para soltarlo. It may not be the most opportune moment. So it's good to go in with an open heart and then patience for ourselves, that the answers may come, but there's still a little bit of time and a little bit more moving forward before we can maybe take action on the intuitive knowing that we have. Because we expect sometimes that with eclipses, things are going to be like boom, boom, boom. And yes, the awarenesses might be like that, but the actual taking it into effect and taking the steps might take a little longer. So we have to be kind to ourselves. So let's talk a little bit about the power of the super full moon, la luna llena. What is a super moon? The super moon occurs when the moon is at its closest point to Earth, appearing larger and brighter and more emotionally potent. Its gravitational pull is stronger not only on our tides, but also on our internal, like water, right? Our emotions, our intuition, our subconscious. We were shooting a film. I'm part of a 2-week horror challenge for Cinespark. And we got together, we wrote a script. And the other night, the moon was so beautiful. It wasn't completely full, but we definitely shot it and it's included in the movie. And I can't wait because it's gorgeous. But the super full moon is going to be closer. It's going to be stronger. It's going to feel more intense. You know, the energetic meeting of the super full moon in astrology, super moons magnify what's been buried. They illuminate what's been hidden, our deeper truths, unprocessed emotions, forgotten dreams. under a super full moon, things that you thought were maybe done or completed, or maybe you'd moved past, suddenly come back. And it's been waiting in the shadows for us to look at it and to embrace it and to be healed and maybe released or integrated. Healing me. I'm healing and releasing already. So what is the spiritual opportunity? Think of the super full moon as a cosmic spotlight shining directly on what's ready to end or evolve. It's not chaos, it's clarity because it's the fullness. When we think of the full moon, it's shining the light on something that we maybe knew about, we didn't want to face, we didn't want to look at. And it is also a harvest moment. Right now, the sun is in Libra, the full moon's in Aries, they're opposite. And we're having that tug of war as well, or maybe a slight imbalance where we're like, where am I giving away too much to other people? Where am I caring too much about others? Where am I not caring enough about myself? Where am I too focused on myself and not about others? And so it is the first full moon since the equinox, and it's activating themes from March, from spring, that began then, and they're now coming to fruition. So it's really important moment. You all can journal to look back at March. What seeds did you plant, right? In your love life and creativity and your jobs, on your purpose, and what's ripening now. When I think of that really quickly, I knew in March I wanted to do a one-woman show. I knew that I wanted to finally have Los Complicados, my improv troupe, charging to, perform. And I also knew that I wanted my second business, Improv Unleashed, to really be taking off. All those three things are actually happening right now. The one woman show happened in September. And so when I think of it just off the top, those are some of the things, and what chapter is naturally closing. So that's another reflection point. And I think I would say for myself, the one where I doubt myself as an artist, it's naturally closing because it's done so much work this year, performed so much. I've coached so much. I've taught classes while also keeping my businesses alive. And what can I celebrate as a completed cycle? So taking that breath in, what can I celebrate as a completed cycle since March till now? And I can look at myself, I started to write my one woman show last year. It was really painful to write in the summer. I was crying all the time. And I feel like that's completed. The ancestral healing that I needed from writing that one woman show is now completed. There's more to write. I'm going to refine the one woman show and submit it to other spaces. But at the same time, that initial pain, that initial tug that really started to take off in March is now completed for me. So remember, what chapter is naturally closing and what can I celebrate as a completed cycle? So what are some of these Aries themes, right? Their motivation, their passion, action. This moon is definitely empowering and it is reflective. Like it gives us a break, but it's also like, well, don't sleep for too long because it's Aries and we got to move. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's about new beginnings, courage, authenticity. That word is like a tongue twister. It's ruled by Mars, the plan of action. And this moon brings clarity about where to invest your energy and what to stop forcing. Okay. So that's a moment because a lot of us are forcing relationships, marriages, friendships, jobs. It doesn't mean that we're going to quit them overnight, obviously, but it's good for us to know, what am I forcing? What is flowing? So Aries asks in this time, are you living your truth or maybe performing survival, or are you pushing through just to survive? There's nothing wrong with that. There are times in our lives where we do have to survive, right? So give yourself a break because you can't judge yourself or be mean to yourself if you need the job that you have and that you have to keep it a little longer before you could go and live your truth. Some people quit their jobs during, I think, new moons in Aries and Aries season. And they're like, I'm going to go out and do my business. And then they're like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. So take your time with this full moon. It's not about harshly chopping something off, but it's about understanding it. So when we're ready to let go, we can. Mars is also in Scorpio. Woo! I am yawning. So in my Latino culture, when we start yawning and yawning, it's not just that we didn't get enough sleep or that the brain needs a lot of oxygen. It also means that we're releasing. And I want to interrupt for a moment. So the necklace you see here on my neck, you haven't seen probably in 4 or 5 years. I lost it in my house. And I knew I'd lost it in my house, but I knew that I'd find it someday. So something told me to start looking in my closet last night. And I did, and I found a bag and I opened it. There it was from an event I did many years ago in person. So here it is. There's something about that that has been returned to me, right? And I love it because Mars is in Scorpio. So Mars, the initiator with energy, with courage, is now in Scorpio, emotional depth. It's not just what drives you, but why does it drive you? What's underneath your motivation? Are you chasing something from fear? Are you moving from love? And that's tough too, because look, a lot of us do move from fear. Like oh, I got to go work out because I don't want to get sick. Why do I want to do this? Well, I'm going to stop eating sugar or whatever it may be. At the same time, how can we heal it? So fear is not inspirational. Rather, love is the love of my own body, the love of life. And so it's not easy. Mars in Scorpio is going to affect the house where your Scorpio is. For me, it's my sixth house. So no shock there that I started going into my closets and pulling everything out. And after I finish recording this, I'm going to actually do a deep clean in my office space. I love it. I'm so excited for that. So, but Mars is helping me because the sixth house is your routine. It's your pets. It's your everyday environment and your office space at home. Here it is. Reflection. So some reflection points, I want to invite you to close your eyes for a moment. And as you allow your eyes to gently close and take a deep breath in, what truly lights me up? What am I doing out of habit that just drains my spark? Taking another breath in. If I could begin again, where would I invest my energy? Where would I place my fire? So breathing that in, what truly lights me up? What am I doing out of habit that drains my spark? If I could begin again, where would I place my fire? Where would I invest my energy? And we want to tie it back into the Libra sun, which I brought up earlier. While Aries wants to act, Libra reminds us to have balance. So you can open your eyes now. The full moon invites us to give energy where it's returned and to pull back where it's being wasted. I know a lot of people don't like that. They're like, I have friendships, I have this. But it is important for us to really assess. Sometimes we're investing energy into spaces that are not giving back. And it's okay to say, I need reciprocity. A lot of people don't like that. They're just like, I'm in the position of giving and I'm a giver. But that's only one identity. And it's an identity that you learned. You may have learned from your mom, from your dad. It is time during this time of balance to support ourselves in our own growth and what keeps us energetic and alive, and also to assess where we're also receiving and what kind of relationships we're building with others. So this is really what we're talking about now. There's also a deep connection here with how do we practice these esoteric or metaphysical or these ideas, right? Like the idea of astrology, the idea of the energy. It's by having an embodied practice. So we could do a fire release ritual, right? Because it is a full moon. So you can write down what you're releasing on paper and safely burn it. Make sure that you're putting it in like a proper place. You don't want to burn it just anywhere and create a fire in your house. You're not trying to release your house, not really. So, and you want to say out loud something like, I release what no longer serves my evolution with gratitude and grace. I release what no longer serves my evolution in a gentle and kind and loving way. I release what no longer serves in a manageable way. You want to add those words in. You could also do a movement practice, a movement medicine. Move your body freely, stretch, dance, stop. Put some music that really gets you moving. Give yourself your own dance party. You could also do a candle meditation. You can focus on the flame. You could breathe it in, visualize old energy dissolving in the firelight. And remember, journaling, diving deeply, asking ourselves las preguntas más importantes, those really important questions. What passion am I ready to reclaim? What bridges need to burn for my growth? How can I balance fire and peace in the next chapter of my life? And so remember, it's a fire sign, it's a super moon. We're seeing things that maybe we don't want to see, but I think that we could see them with more calm. It asks us to take a break for a second. So don't rush into action, though Aries is, inspiring of courage and energy. Take a moment, take a load off, be like, okay, let me chill, let me have a little fun, breathe. And then just ask yourself some of the questions that I've shared, right? Because the full moon isn't here to destroy, it's here to reveal. A lot of people are afraid. They're like, oh, the full moon, my God. But it's really about, I have to have the courage to look at my life for what it is so then I can heal it, then I can accept it. and then I can live it better. You may feel things intensify right before the release. Trust the unraveling. Trust that what remains will be real. And know that you're not too much. Sometimes we feel a lot around the full moon, but this is our fire medicine. I have Venus in Aries and I have Sag, Mars and Sag. It's like the two most energetic planets, right? Because the sun is our identity, the moon is how you process emotions and your emotional reactions and your emotional life. And Mercury is, your mental life and how you process thoughts and how you communicate. But Venus is how we love, what we value. Mars is how we move. Where do we invest our energy? And it's all in fire for me. So it makes sense that all of my identity and my emotions and my thoughts, when they hit my Venus and Mars, I'm going to activate. That's why I'm such a go-getter. I get things done. Wherever your Venus and Mars are, wherever you have fire, and even if you don't have fire in your natal chart, there is a house, 3 houses that are ruled by fire in your chart. So you have it somewhere. So after you do some of this letting go, some of this burning of what you've written down, some of this deep inner, exploration, take a bath, take a walk, have some reflection. And just breathe in and just say, I'm letting go of what served its time during this full moon. I honor my fire, I honor and I trust my unfolding. This is really a time of illumination. It's a time of deeply connecting with nuestro fuego, nuestra pasión, nuestra energía. And it is a time of deeply reassessing where we're headed, where we've been. And I think really being grateful for where we've been. It's not always easy to be grateful for what we've been because we judge ourselves, right? We're like, well, I could have done this with this time. I could have done that. I could have perhaps explored this opportunity or that opportunity. And we're not perfectos. We're not perfect, right? We are beautiful human beings living an imperfect life, and we're imperfect. And we're remembering who we truly are as deep spiritual beings by being challenged. While we'd like to skip the challenging part of life, the challenging part of life is what brings out character. It lets us meet ourselves, right? In the dark night, in our deep shadows of who we are. And then it allows us to really connect to what we're valuing now. There's a high chance that what you valued as a child, you might value now, but there's also a chance that life has changed you, pulled away layers and decolonized you. And now you're discovering things about yourself that you maybe didn't value or that you were taught not to value. Like my parents really supported my actor and artist self, but they also kind of told me, you're not really going to make a living that way. And you've got to focus on real things and real skills. And even though I was performing a lot, I was part of an acting group, a performance group, an arts organization, Puerto Rican Intercultural Drama Ensemble, performed in New York. We won a grant. I walked away eventually because I didn't know how to live in Manhattan, have my own apartment as a young woman while I worked 3 jobs and also became an artist. Always stayed in touch with that artist part of myself, but now it's an important value. I don't think I'll ever let go of performing or writing or speaking or poetry recitals. I think that it enriches my life in a very deep way, and that I'm not just meant to be a healer or a guide that does sessions or teaches classes all the time, that I'm also meant to guide through example by saying, hey, I reclaim this part of myself. How about you? What are you reclaiming? And so if you're a business owner, if you're a guide, if you're a healer, or even someone that people respect and lean in for courage, remember that the more we feed ourselves and step into our own beautiful expansion, we're also, even without knowing, probably holding up another standard for somebody, another experience, another model of experience, that we don't have to live just doing one thing or being one thing, but that we're multidimensional and we can translate that into the present life, into present existence. It's not easy because it's a lot, but we can do it bit by bit, poquito a poquito. So I hope that this has touched your heart. I know it was a little all over the place, but that Aries energy got me like this. And it's been a minute since we've talked, and I hope that this really resonates with you. Let me know what are some of the things that you're letting go of. Let me know what are some of the things you're ready to step into your life passionately, and know that we're heading into the fall. We're heading into a beautiful new year with All Hallows Eve, with Savine, with the turn of the wheel. El tiempo está cambiando, reconectándonos con nuestros difuntos. and receiving those messages that are always there for us. So sending you all so much love. Gracias por estar aquí. Thank you for being here. And let me know how this process went for you. Keep that hope alive with this full moon in Aries. Don't get too cray-cray. Don't, give less fucks, but don't get too angry. And stay inspired. Mucho amor.